I have some wonderful things to share with you this morning during this regular homily time about some great happenings in our parish. Friday evening, to finish our celebration of Catholic Schools Week, we had an auction at the Ahern Party Center here in Avon Lake, and some 200 people attended. It looks right now that the net profit from that evening was $52,000 in one night to benefit our beloved St. Joseph Parish School. And according to my notes, that's $10,000 more than last year. As you know, we're in the first year of our combined capital campaign, Rooted in Faith, Forward in Hope. This past week, we received our first disbursement check. And I have to tell you, I was astonished when I opened the envelope. In it was a check to our parish for $347,000. Now, as you remember, our first object of our combined capital campaign is to get rid of our parish debt. Last week, our parish debt stood at $125,000. On Friday afternoon at 4:00 p.m., a check was hand-delivered to the bank to pay off the loan and its closing costs. And as of Friday afternoon at 4:00, our parish debt right now is zero. I can't tell you how long I have been waiting to tell you that. We have no parish debt, thanks to you and your generosity. And as you remember, our second object of our combined capital campaign is to build a brand new multi-purpose gym family center. So the balance of that first disbursement check is now in a savings account designated solely for our new multi-purpose gym family center, and that savings account now has within it $202,000. We're on the way. Thank you. We still have in our monthly envelope packet for February, and it'll continue for March, an envelope for debt reduction. Isn't it great? We don't need that anymore. But any monies that come in the next couple of months in that envelope, what we will do with those donations is put them in the savings account for the new multi-purpose gym family center, because we'll reimburse that account for the money from that first disbursement check that went to debt reduction. Sound all right? But that's what we'll do, just so everybody knows. Isn't that great news? Wow, I'd love to tell you those kinds of things. This campaign, we're in our first year, 4 more years to go. Disbursement checks will be issued every quarter for the next 4 years of amounts that come in, and we have all that to look forward to. As you also remember, the goal of our combined capital campaign is $3.5 million. We have already raised in cash and pledges $3 million. So we have another $500,000 to go before we hit our goal. I think we can do this. I mean, once we've raised $3 million, what's 500,000 more? But if you're still considering your pledge, it's not too late. There are 4 more years to fulfill it. If you'd like to adjust your pledge, hopefully upward, there are still some pledge cards in the gathering area on that table that has the site model right back over there by the windows. There's a whole stack of pledge cards. They would be graciously and gratefully received. But I'm so happy to tell you that good news. And by the way, we have a pipe organ here in storage. It's a pipe organ that originally was in St. John's Cathedral, downtown Cleveland. From there, it went to the auditorium of St. John's College next door. When the college closed, it went to Holy Trinity Parish in Bedford Heights, was updated, enlarged, refurbished, and installed. We received it from Holy Trinity Parish in Bedford Heights, which is now closed. We've got it. People have been making voluntary contributions to that account, that savings account. The whole project is $270,000 to install it here in our choir loft. And believe me, it will be the crowning gem of this new church. The project is $270,000 to do it. We already have $135,000 in that account. We're halfway there. But I just thought you'd like to know that. We are opening this weekend our 8th annual stewardship renewal. You might well be thinking, didn't we do that already? Well, yes, we have, 7 previous times. This is the 8th. Well, you may ask, well, why do we need to do that again? For the simple reason, it's that important. Things that are very important, we renew. For instance, New Year's resolutions. How often do we make them? Annually. Lenten resolutions. Lent opens a week from this Wednesday, February 13th, Ash Wednesday. Do you do the same thing every year for Lent? Do you do some different things? Maybe it's a combination. But how often do you make your Lenten resolutions? Annually. How often do you renew your anniversary of your wedding? Every year with your beloved one. And so with stewardship renewal. Every year we do that. It's so important. Maybe it's making some new commitments. Maybe it's renewing what we're already doing. But we do that every year. In the mail, you've already received, or you will be receiving in the next few days, a stewardship packet that contains within it a catalog of the 50-some ministries going on here, as well as commitment cards for adults and for young people. We're asked to renew or make new commitments with our time, giving more of our time to our Lord in prayer, with our talent in service here within our parish family, with our treasure, working towards a scriptural tithe, which recommends that we give back to God the first 10% of our incomes, giving 5% to our parish family here at the church, the other 5% to other charities. You'll find those catalogs. Today, we have a ministries fair. As you leave Mass today, in fact, at all the Masses this weekend, go through the doors, invite you to go through St. Joseph Hall, and then in the corridors, going this way and this way in the school, you'll find representatives of our 50-some ministries at tables. I would encourage you as you go through to stop. Maybe there's a ministry you're interested in. You can find out something about it. Maybe there's a ministry you don't even know what it is. Find out what it is. Make 2 or 3 stops on your way to the gymnasium, and then when you get to the gymnasium, members of our ministries have prepared a pancake and sausage breakfast for you, complimentary, in other words, free of charge. I would encourage you at the breakfast, look for somebody you've never met before. Introduce yourself to at least one person, and this could well be the beginnings of a brand new friendship for you and that individual. Look over those materials. We have 2 weeks to do that. Next weekend in our parish and in all the parishes of our diocese, we make our Catholic Charities commitments. The following weekend, February 16th, 17th, 2 weeks from now, we ask that you bring your stewardship commitment cards with you to Mass and present those to the Lord, renewing or making new commitments for these next 12 months. So, let's keep each other in prayer. Get to the ministries fair today and hang out and have a great breakfast and meet somebody new. Spend these next 2 weeks looking at what you'd like to renew, what you'd like to do new for this next year. And let's remember in gratitude that we're called, we're chosen to be disciples of Jesus Christ and stewards of God's bountiful blessings. Another blessing that we have today is to hear from one of our fellow parishioners, Chris Heinzman. Chris and his wife Eva have 5 daughters, members of our parish, and I'd like to invite Chris Heinzman to the pulpit to offer his own witness to stewardship as a way of life in their family. Chris.
Good morning. Thank you, Father. And I'd also like to say thank you to Pam Wolf, Barry Dorr, and all the just wonderful folks on our stewardship committee for asking me to be here today. They came to me and said, Chris, we'd like you to come and just tell a little bit about your story and share, with our parish family, what stewardship means to me and to the Heinzman clan. And one of the things I'd like to share to really start it off is that we've been members here since August of 2006, so a little over 6 years. My family, we've moved a lot. We've been members of many parishes. And, one of the things that we know for a fact is that we are truly blessed to have found St. Joseph's. Very lucky to be here and be a part of the family. In fact, 6 years ago when we were moving here, we had asked the relocation company, and we told them, we said, we want to find a church and a school first, and the house will figure itself out. We were very fortunate that they complied with that. We visited many great parishes in the greater Cleveland area. But I can tell you, I remember the day very, very clearly, and I see some familiar faces from that day. We knew within minutes that we had found our home. And just very glad to be here. To be able to speak to everybody, to speak to our parish family is definitely a great honor in talking about stewardship and what it means to me. And I talk to Eva, my kids, about everything, especially important things like this. And one of the things when I brought it up to our kids, one of our daughters said, when I said, what does stewardship mean to you? One of my daughters said, oh, Dad, it means it's time for the annual talk at church. And I'm sure that thought may have run through some of your minds this morning. And Father says everything best. And when it comes to talking about the annual appeal and the renewal of the things that are important, it is important, and we make time for the important things. And so, it is our time to talk about time, talent, and treasure. When Eva and I were sitting down talking about what are the goals of it, what does stewardship really mean? What does it yield? That type of question. And it really comes down to what type of church, what kind of church family do we want to build? Where do we want to be a part of? And the answers that we came to were, we want to be someplace where we're not judged. We want to be someplace where we're made to feel welcome. And every time that we're here, we feel as though we're a part of something. We truly are here for each other. And that is the case here. So, again, as I'm talking about the goals, and my family, we've been here for 6 years, some real reassuring things that happened to me over and over again, some real recently, is that, I meet, families and other dads and folks that are newer to the parish. Maybe they've been here a year or two, and they will express and say in their own way just how happy they are and how welcome they feel to be here and part of our parish family. I think all of us should feel really, really good about that. Those are great goals that we've all been working toward, and it's real. It's really happening. So the first thing I want to talk about, I'm switching up the order a little bit on purpose. I do want to talk about treasure first, because for a lot of us, and when I say that, I'm talking about me and Eva and my family. In a lot of cases, when I say us and we, I'm referring to us personally. Talking about treasure may cause the greatest unease. Most of us were taught and raised that it's impolite to talk about money, especially in public. Well, based off of a lot of the great things and the great messages and accomplishments that Father just shared with us, I think we should all feel very, very encouraged and very excited that a lot of the things that we've challenged ourselves as a parish to do are happening. The debt being paid off. I remember a homily, it was either last week or 2 weeks ago, where Father shared with us that the Christmas offertory was the best ever in the history of our parish. So those are incredibly great signs that everybody here is very, very generous in giving of themselves. Now, that the reality of the situation, and this is where I'm talking about me and Eva and our family, is that, it's a challenge and a struggle. It's not always easy. We can't give every time, but we give what we can when we can. And what I can share with you is that that type of mentality is greatly appreciated and very, very powerful. And so for many of you, maybe sitting here right now saying, you know what, that's great, and I hear you. Great to hear all the things that are happening here. But in my house, in my world, right now is really not the best time to be talking about this. Well, the great part about what is happening for all of us is that the opportunities to consider to give of our treasure come very often. So if you can't today, take the time that the next time it comes around, the next envelope that comes, perhaps your situation has changed and it's a better time for you at that point. We struggle as a family too. Sometimes you have unexpected bills, opportunities for the kids, others that are close to you, those types of things. The challenge for us as our family is that we just want to find one thing that we want to give to this year that we had never given to, something that we can give more to. So that's, something that I think we all can look to. Excuse me. The second part of stewardship for a lot of us is at least as important as talking about treasure, and that's our time. We are all very, very busy. And what I can tell you is that the great thing about St. Joe's, and this is the vantage point that my family has, having been parts and members of many other parishes, without a doubt, St. Joe's is truly, it is a parish where you can jump in, be a part, and be welcome. If you want to be a part of a Bible study, a book club, help with Breakfast with Santa, you are welcome. If you want to pray for vocations, the unborn, coach sports or lead scouts, you are welcome. If you want to be a part of someone that can help us right from your laptop at home by getting the word out and things like that, that would be very warmly welcomed as well. When I think about the time part of it, really for me, stewardship, the time part starts with this: Mass every week with all of you, with my personal family, with my parish family, and with God. This hour is something that I look forward to every single week. It's the one hour of the week that I know that I will not be distracted by the smartphone and this, that, and the other thing, all the other noise that is out there. We're here together with God, with each other. And one of the things that's the most powerful for me is the quiet power that happens right at the end of communion. We've shared the bread of life as a parish family. We're filled with the presence of God. And we have that moment. And I try to remind myself, too, at that point, who do each of us know that could use that hour? Who do each of us know? Maybe it's a family member, maybe it's a friend, someone that's drifted away from the church. Who do we know that could benefit from that power that we can maybe bring in? Do we make sure to keep an eye out for the new people here in our parish and make sure that they feel welcome? And if there are new families here this morning, we're so glad to have you here. Hopefully you feel the warmth and the love and the power of what is happening here. Now, I also try to keep it real for myself. Time is precious. We are all very, very busy. And I give the example that we all have it on our calendar. I've got a 7 o'clock meeting at St. Joe's on Thursday night for something. Thursday's been crazy. I've been going all day. And oh, by the way, I've got something first thing Friday morning. It'd be very, very easy, maybe, to talk myself out of or rationalize away the 7 o'clock commitment at St. Joe's on Thursday night. But one of the things that I've learned over time is that we make time for the important things. I said that earlier, the renewal of our commitments and those types of things. We make time for those important things. And it always pays off. Every single time that I make sure that I make it to that 7 o'clock meeting on Thursday night, when I'm leaving here, I'm in the car and I'm heading home or heading wherever I'm going, every time I'm so glad that I made that happen because I get to be with all of you. I get to be around people that are passionate about what is going on, common purposes, great things going on in our parish. So I know that is the challenge. So what I would just at this point stress is that it's amazing you get more than you give. In my world outside of church and outside of the family, it's all very structured. Everything comes to a zero balance at the bottom of the sheet and things like that. Well, that's not how it works when you're giving. When you give, you always get back more than you get. It's amazing. There's not an equal sign. And so it's always worth that effort to make sure that you go for that. Now, if you don't have the time, and that it can very really be the situation for you, make sure that if you are thinking of it in that way, is there a way that you can carve out a couple more minutes each day for God? Something that I challenge myself to. The third main part of stewardship, of course, is talent. And this is the most fun, at least for me. I think about all of the activities and all of the unbelievably skilled and talented people in our parish. And I encourage everybody today, please take 10 minutes to go down the halls and see the 50-plus ministries that are going to be represented this morning. You're going to be blown away by the different opportunities, the different people that are just want to talk to everybody and just share with what they have going on. Some of the things that my family has really been blessed and fortunate to be a part of, and I just want to list some of these as examples. Junior Great Books, Bible Study, Book Club, CYO Coach, Pre-Cana Team, Bakers and Cooks, Bereavement. Our kids have been blessed to have been experienced so many things as well. They're CYO Sports, Youth Choir, Altar Server, Aftercare Helper, Giving Tree, Breakfast with Santa, Project Outreach, Souls for Souls, all types of activities. And again, I only list these as examples of the many things that are out there. And when you have the chance to find out what's going on and you get to be a part, you realize how easy it is. As I said at the beginning, our parish family is unbelievably welcoming and open-armed to have people come in. Lots of different ways to find out what is going on as well. Our bulletin is an incredible source of information for all of the things that are coming up in the immediate week and subsequent weeks with dates, times, the events, different contact people, things that may be needed as far as assistance and help. We have the bulletin boards as well in the gathering area. The gathering area itself is an incredibly powerful place. The 10 minutes after Mass, if those of you already do it know what I'm talking about, you spend that 10 minutes just to see some friendly, familiar faces. And if you've never done it, take the time to do it, because this week you get a chance to say hi to somebody that you've never met. Next week, you get to say, hey, how was whatever? And you catch up a little bit more, because the familiarity and the comfort level starts to go up the more that you start to see people and reach out to them. Then the next thing you know, you're asking them about, hey, tell me about this stewardship ministry that you had been talking about. I'd like to know more. And then the next thing you know, you're an active part of what is happening. Again, for those of you that are new to the parish, so glad to have you here. And if you are maybe here this morning looking for a parish, much like my family was 6 years ago, we would love to have you here. And if you have any questions, please reach out to somebody, and we'd be more than happy to help you. Perhaps you're visiting from another parish. Again, great to have you here this morning. If there's something that you're hearing about our stewardship activities here that you think would be beneficial to your parish that you'd like to take back, please come and grab one of us. We'd be more than happy to share that information with you. And so as I finish, I just want to go back to the one question that Eve and I landed at, and what kind of church, what kind of parish family do we want to build? And my question is, it's to myself, it's a reminder, but to all of us, what are we willing to share in terms of our time, talent, and treasure with our parish family? And thank you very much, and I really appreciate it. And me and the Heinzman family just truly appreciate being a part of St. Joseph Parish family. We love you all, and thank you very much.